Writing an angel check is easy. Knowing why is the flex. Angel investing. Underused, misunderstood, explained badly. Angels Decoded, an educated and raw take. In cahoots with Play Money. I stopped investing in deals about 3 months ago. Not because the deals are worse, but because the world got worse. I haven't been able to get excited about anything. There's an emotional toll to be a human right now. Angel investing is inherently an optimistic act. You're building an asset class, but it's connecting with a founder and with what they're building. It is by its nature an act of optimism and an act of creation. Right now, the emotional cost of optimism feels really high. And I that's a big part of the reason why I'm frozen. And not because the deals are bad, not because I'm not trusting my own judgment, but because it feels like the emotional cost of optimism, right? And like it's facts that the best time to invest in startups from a financial perspective is when things feel like there's a lot of change and turn. How do I get unstuck? Because I actually know I'm not alone in this. And it's interesting because the behavior we've seen on Play Money, because we're bringing in a first-time investor and a different kind of investor, which is code word for 65% of the checks on Play Money are written by women, we have been counter-cyclical to like natural trauma or the ups and downs of the economy. Those different kind of founders with different kinds of solutions, if they don't get the capital they need, they're not going to have those things we need for us in 5 years and in 10 years.
Hello and welcome back to Angels Decoded. Being an angel investor means that you're working alongside founders from all different backgrounds, passions and purpose. But what happens around that is that there's a level of optimism that you need to bring to the table. So today we're going to be looking at the emotional cost of optimism as an angel investor and how that connects to a founder. And Cheryl, Kellond, welcome to the show. Today we're hitting something which feels really big right now, and it's hard to avoid this, even if you're not angel investing.
The world's a shit right now. Like, it's just facts. Everywhere you look, it feels like it's too much. It doesn't feel like there's silver linings to anything right now. Geopolitically, economically, I'm not usually a doomer, but it hits a little different.
And in context of the startup world and angel investing, what's happened is there's a flow-on effect of how you manage your capital and capital deployment period. And I've heard stories of people that are really, really experienced in investing that have pulled their money out of everything and put it just in gold. That's the extreme example of volatility and people not knowing where to move. And being an angel investor means that you're really investing into the future. And what I mean is a category that may not exist yet, a business that is very early and not really even at a point where they can drive impact, but it's all around potential. And I'd love to get your take on potential. And as an angel investor, we've talked historically in previous episodes around the ability to find purpose and passion alongside a founder who's making a difference. And for a lot of angel investors, that can be the root of where you're actually putting your money into, is you can feel like you're making a difference. But actually finding that now in this world, it feels like there's a real tension between those 2 points.
I'm doing a panel on Tuesday in San Francisco, and someone who was new to Angel stood up, and she was struggling with this. She's like, I have enough abundance, right? I don't have scarcity of resources, but it feels really hard if I should be doing this right now, angel investing. And I was able to listen to that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sort of in that same boat personally. Right. And like, this is not I am worried about my own capital or financial situation. I do all my angel investing out of my retirement funds. But the reason people are drawn to angel is twofold. And two things can exist at the same time. One of them is, as an asset class, it has tremendous upside potential. But it, on the flip, and this is what I think draws just as many, if not more people to it, it's also a place where it can be a legitimate financial asset class, but it can make you feel something. There's a story you're going along for a ride with a founder. There's a a dream you share with the founder of solving this particular problem or learning these particular things or just interacting in the world in just a more high adrenaline way. Like one of my favorite, I have an angel investor that I've known since the 90s. He's invested in all three of my companies. And he'll tell you straight out, he invests in my companies to live vicariously through my startup journey because he had a big company job and the big company job was right for him. And he would never miss an investor update from me because he loves watching and feeling that. It makes you feel something. It makes you feel alive. And I think one thing a lot of us are struggling with us right now is we want to feel less maybe because everything we're feeling is scary or hurtful or just bad people doing bad things, leaving a bad taste in your mouth and sort of being helpless to stop it. And so flight to safety, which means get smaller, be less curious, it's a natural reaction. It's a natural reaction.
It's an important reflection because to be an early stage investor does take a real alignment on purpose and values and what you're stepping into. And for a lot of folks, a founder is taking a step that is brave, period. And to compromise so much in their life, financially, professionally, family, relationships. And if you're stepping into a venture that has a trajectory that can actually have a positive impact on the world, it's easy just through pragmatism to be skeptical about that actually going to make a difference. You start to erode any practical insight around the business opportunity as an investment and what change they can make. And it's hard to get a sense of, is this actually worth my time and money based upon the world? So you've got this cloud in the sky that can really dilute your rationale for why you're doing what you're doing.
I think there's two sides of it though. Like at least when I reflected, on myself and my behavior lately, I am not questioning my judgment. I'm not questioning the kind of founders I like or the kind of businesses I think they can build or what I think a good investment in. I'm not questioning myself. It truly goes back to, the phrase I shared at the beginning, the emotional cost of optimism. It feels hard to be optimistic. And it's funny because it's happening at a time that I'm not questioning myself and my judgment on picking companies. And I also know the data and leaning in when others are leaning back or leaning in times of change or leaning in when things are hard are traditionally the very best times to invest. Because the founders attacking those times, they truly do see something different. When everyone else is flying to safety and we're like, no, dude, let's jump right into the worst of it. Like you're getting the right founders and they're going to build in the right scrappy, creative ways. So from a logic perspective, there's no better time to be an angel investor. From an emotional perspective, it feels easy to get small. I think what I'm looking for individually is I'm trying to figure out my story that gets me out of my rut of feeling small and less abundant. Because when I think about how I'm withholding my capital right now, it pisses me the F off. Because you know who is not withholding their capital? The big funds, dumping all of it into data centers in my community or backing the same kind of founders they've always backed. And the problems I care about the most are the first ones to go unfunded. So me getting small is actually, I'm shooting myself in my own foot because the world I want to see on the other side of this isn't getting funded and created. So like I could cycle down into a pretty bad pity party of that, or I could put my big girl pants on and be like, wait a minute, I'm not just withholding capital. I'm withholding belief. Have I stopped believing in that future? That's not the person I want to be. So I'm like trying to see myself spin myself down in it and see myself spin myself up in it. But it's funny because it's a financial decision, but it's entirely emotional in all the right ways.
Absolutely. And if you're in a position where you're an accredited investor, you feel like you're happy to deploy some capital, walking into the world we are in and hearing the noise, it's going to cloud judgment and trying to rise above that noise and think about a future state of the company that you're all talking to, you're reading about, and you want to put money in because you see them making a difference. How do you start to actually step outside of the noise and think about staying true to the path? Because at a time like this, we actually need more angels, which is part of the reason that we're starting this podcast, Angels Decoded, in partnership with Play Money. But right now, the noise that's out there means that people may be more conservative, like the simple example I gave before around gold. What
Mhm.
are some of the things that you can start to do to finding those brave founders that in the face of adversity are actually still standing tall and seeing actually there is a bigger opportunity here where if I get stickiness and can make a difference, the impact to counter what is happening is even a bigger opportunity because it can be a glass half full or half empty situation, right?
Yep. And I am a glass always three quarters kind of full kind of girl. So like me feeling this way is not my natural territory. It was interesting because during the panel we did on Tuesday, my answers to this woman were like how I'm trying to dig my own self out of this hole right now, which is I don't want to stop believing in the future, and now is the best time to start to create it with my checks and my energy, and to look at that as my part of the solution and the way out of the hot mess we're in right now. Person on the panel with me also had a really great but very different take, which was even if you're feeling the unsettledness of the world might come and bite you, if you've got that abundance on the capital side, you should keep investing or should start investing because it returns different things to you. It's not just hope in the future 10 years down the road and hope in returns 10 years down the road, but it's a network, it's connections, it's new skill set, it's a human story you're connected to. And she tied it back to really more tangible benefits. So if the economic uncertainty does end up hitting you, well, you've got a different network. You've got a place to plug in for a job or roles or ways, just a broader surface area for luck and connection, which is great because then there was an OG Play Money angel in the audience, and she stood up and she told this story about her first angel check and like the company, it ended up growing, and now she sits on their board, and it's opened up the opportunity for the job she's in right now. And, it's opened up other opportunities for her friends. And like that tiny check she wrote a while back created a half dozen really tangible opportunities and more immediate term benefits that she hadn't even expected that make her more resilient now economically and socially and financially, even in rough times. And so I loved the juxtaposition of the short-term benefit and the long-term active belief. Made me feel good.
It's important to step back and look at those historical moments. And I I said the word unprecedented before as far as the times that we're in, and there's windows of time you can look back at where there's been things happening of similar nature, maybe not at the same scale that we're seeing now. And you could probably find interesting examples of companies that actually rose above that noise and found fresh opportunity and being optimistic to be able to look at those as a way to give yourself confidence to not lose faith and continue because right now we need to double down even more and not be nervous, but the rhetoric feels like it is taking away that motivation.
Yep. And we just have to sort of maybe put our big girl pants on and just keep doing the thing we were doing and not get smaller. Like stop the doom scrolling, scroll some startups. We can laugh about it now, but it's serious issue. Again, withholding that belief in founders because we feel small, like they're working so hard. They're believing in something bigger than themselves. Like the act of me as an angel believing along with them and writing a small check to back them, that's actually the easiest part of the job.
Yeah, the process to go through an angel investment is still the same. We're at episode number 8. If your journey is for the first time, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to the first 7 episodes and get some foundations in the sense of how to approach it, how to think about it. And it's still the same because it's easy to get caught in the noise. Like any
Mhm.
narrative, if you hear it consistently, it's easy to take it on board as the truth. But applying your pragmatic and educated minds to what you're doing and staying true to the path. And I'd love to hear from you, Cheryl. If you're able to step outside of yourself and put yourself in my shoes, talking to you, what are some of the things that you would say to yourself right now to try and escape the noise and get back into a space of optimism?
Well, here's the irony of it. I am also a founder, and at this same conference on Tuesday, I had 2 people come back to me and say, oh my gosh, I left with so much excitement and optimism from hearing you talk about what you are doing as a founder right now with all of these technologies that others are making look scary. So I would say this, like if you're for folks, particularly for folks who are sitting on the sidelines because for either reason you've pulled back, or you've been thinking about jumping in, but you're like, wow, things are feeling crazy. Does this feel like the right time? Stop doom scrolling and start up scroll. Literally listen to founders because we are inherently optimistic and we will get you so excited about what's coming next. And I don't say this because I say it because 2 people told me I did that for them this week. And they said it was palpable and it changed their view for the day, their view for their week.
Absolutely. And you do have to have that positive future state mindset to be a founder because you're taking on something that is like feels completely unattainable, but you have to have that confidence and that positivity is contagious. And it's how we connected was the way that you approach the world. And I see so much inside of you that is, for me, I'm learning myself, but also I take positivity from. And I think you're like any human being reflecting right now, and we fluctuate in those moments. But I see it inside of you when you do come alive. So we do need to be able to find those right inputs and not get caught up in everything else that's coming our way, which is not relevant or contextual.
I think the greatest thing about Angels, honestly, you don't need to have it all figured out to start. You can just start. You can start lurking, you can start learning, you can start seeing deals, you can see what hits you right. I always say we're all better angels than we know. We all have a gut sense of the big problems that need to be solved and someone that's a great gut sense of people and who's resilient enough and optimistic enough to make it happen. So maybe this is a place we all lean into to get a little bit of positivity and hope. And before we know it, we'll be on the other side of this shit.
And I would say like a really great way to think about how you put your frustration, anger, whatever emotion you're feeling is to know that you're probably not feeling that by yourself. There is a founder somewhere who is tackling a version of what you're thinking about. So you can multiply your own personal energy by aligning with someone who was actually driving change. So use that frustration for good and actually seek out someone who is driving that change. And that can be a really rewarding project to do.
Oh, I know that is what I did for people on Tuesday, particularly around AI. I was like, oh, AI, let me tell you this thing. I could give you the doom version over here. I got 4 fresh college grads that are struggling. But I was like, but look at this. Maybe the answer to these, Andy, could it be that the answer to these really unsettling times is actually everyone should just write an angel check and go along for the ride for people that are just inherently optimistic and can see a future that's positive? Like, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's fix. Write the damn check.
Absolutely. And I think we all need to have just a little taste of we can believe in miracles and staying positive because we need that. And community, which you touched on, is really important. So, Cheryl, Kellond, we need to wrap it up. But thank you. Today, a really important look at where we're at. Episode number 8 of Angels Decoded. My name is Andy Walsh from Startups Decoded with my friend here, Cheryl Kellond. Thank you so much for joining, Cheryl.
Oh, thanks for having me. Just write the damn check.
Checks, people.
Bye now.
Angels Decoded, a weekly podcast for people learning the craft. Angel investing made easy. Subscribe, then decide. Angels Decoded, in cahoots with Play Money.